Knows how smart you are.
Breakfast of Champions by Kurt Vonnegut.
The hot new e-reader includes a massive catalog of titles, a sleek, easy-to-use interface, and a loud, clear voice that barks the name and author of your book on a loop. Amazon says the repetitive shouting is a small feature that makes a big difference. Readers say that with crystal clear 150 decibel stereo speakers, the Flare provides the most conspicuous reading experience yet. When you're not reading, the Flare automatically switches into bookshelf mode, which conserves power and reads off a list of everything on your Kindle.
Blink by Malcolm Gladwell, a confederacy of dunces.
And Amazon's competition has also stepped up their game as Apple released a new iPad that whispers, "I have an iPad," over and over again.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, and you're welcome to join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Coming up, John McAfee, the presidential candidate who attempted to run for the Libertarian Party's nomination in 2016 and has thrown his hat in for 2020 as well, is now on the run as of, it sounds like sometime in the last 24 hours, having left the United States on a boat. And that's because apparently the federal government has handed down some indictments from a grand jury regarding claiming that he's been using cryptocurrency to undermine the federal government or something like that. We'll pull up more information here. And actually, I've got I've got exactly what McAfee has to say about it as well. So we'll hear directly from him through his Twitter feed because it's pretty outrageous. We're actually going to start out here tonight by going to Roberto, who is calling us from Miami. Roberto, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Hi, how you doing?
Hey. What's on your mind tonight?
Here in Miami. Well, here in Miami, it's pretty nice joining you to talk a little bit what's going on in Venezuela, and also this crypto thing is interesting to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, Mark told me that you would be calling in tonight, and he was down there at the Miami Bitcoin conference a little while back, and I guess is that where you met Mark?
Yes, we met here a couple days ago. We were at the North American Bitcoin conference, and I was interviewed by these guys who were talking about the petro cryptocurrency in Venezuela. Mm-hmm. And openly, we have to call it, it's a scam.
It's a scam,
because,
yeah.
Well, total scam.
Yeah, we've talked actually in detail about the so-called petro over the last year, because it was actually back in February of 2018 when it was supposedly going to launch, and no one was ever able to actually get their digital hands on it, so to speak. And it's to this day still doesn't exist in any kind of attainable format, right?
Well, it doesn't exist as a cryptocurrency, but it does exist as another mean of this tyranny government we have.
Now, tell me a little bit about you, Roberto. As I understand it, you are from Venezuela?
Yes, I'm from Venezuela. I live there. I'm a professor in law, constitutional law. I'm a lawyer and a professor in constitutional law. And, well, my approach to this cryptocurrency world is about the cryptos are basically one mean to free people. I mean, free access to property, free access and move of people and their values. And that's a great idea, to liberate people from this kind of government like the Venezuela that we have now.
Yeah. Now, did you say you lived there or you currently live there?
I lived in Venezuela. I was only visiting Florida and Miami because of this event and a couple familiar and things. And it's a good idea to promote and to let people know what's going on in South America with Venezuela.
Yeah, we've been following as best we can, having never actually been there or lived there. We obviously have to rely on news coverage to really get any kind of feel for what's going on down there, and it's just been an absolute disaster for the poor people down there who, many of them are stuck. They can't easily leave. The government has recently created a border patrol to, in my opinion, keep people in Venezuela. What are your thoughts?
Well, we are prisoners in our own country.
Yeah.
To get out, I mean, even having a passport issued is a problem right now. And not only poor people. I mean, we're talking about professional people with money. Every time the fence is closing and closing and closing. We have this exchange control rate that has been more than 15 years, and the value of the national currency have lost millions of percentage in hyperinflation. So something that it costs you once, let's say $1, right now you have to pay it in $1,000, more or less. I mean, and the wages and the money you receive for your work is not also, very evaluated.
Right.
It's a mess. And more than that,
yeah, please.
That a lot of people think that our countries, it's only an effect, economic effect, but it's not. It is a political effect, and it's intentional. It is 100% intentional, because if you create mystery and terror, because the crime, it helps you to get people to dominate the other citizens.
Well, yeah, and hyperinflation is obviously intentional as well, which of course is what has ravaged the Venezuelan economy even worse than the socialism. Is the idea that they just keep on printing money out down there. In fact, it was so bad last year. I remember we read a story that the Venezuelan government was unable to pay its bill to its private printers because they don't print their own money. They actually hire it out to a private company, and they owed, I think, millions of dollars in dollars to that private company for printing out what was then the Bolivar Fuerte, which they then switched in August of last year to the new Bolivar Soberano, which was just, they slapped, knocked 5 zeros off of the currency. And do people actually, nobody actually buys it, right? Like when you're talking with the average Venezuelan, nobody's fooled by that, right?
Well, no, at all. It doesn't have, well, you mentioned it right now, that the government doesn't have the money to print their own money.
Right.
So that's the way I think they see the petro, like a way to get out this obligation that you have to print your own money. And at the same time, some people could be obliged to receive it. If you are a public contractor and you have this debt against the government, well, the government has the debt, and you have to make receive some payment from them, they can obligate you to receive the petro. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you can't use them. You can't use them for anything else.
Right.
So that's why
right. Yeah, I heard that the petro, the last we reported on it, I think was in December, and apparently they have like a certificate. So there's like a paper certificate that you can get claiming that you have one of these so-called petros, which is, of course, just laughable.
You have a paper certificate that you could get the petro one. But it still doesn't exist. I mean,
it's a promise. A promise to give you a petro.
It's a promise. It's a promise. And if you see it, in the main interpretation of law, you are not obliged to receive something that was not agreed.
Mm-hmm.
So even though if you receive it, the state, the government, is not free of that obligation. So that matches for whatever is going on right now, because tomorrow all the citizens and all the people is being called by the opposition to, be in front of the streets to see if we, at last, Maduro, it lifts office, no?
So wait, so tomorrow you said people are going to gather near his office?
Yes. Because what happened, the January the 10th, he pretended to swear in as a president for a new period, and the entire nations in Latin America, well, not the entire, it still is Bolivia and Nicaragua, but the rest are considering an usurpator of the office, no?
They're considering. I'm sorry, I couldn't quite make out what you said there. The other countries in South America are considering what?
They're not legitimate in office, so that he's not the president.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah, I remember seeing a headline that I think it was Brazil had said that
Brazil, Peru, Argentina, Paraguay, the United States, Mexico. Well, with this AMLO thing, they're not into it right now. But the European Union, and today, this morning, the vice president of the United States even had a special word considering affecting Juan Guaido. Juan Guaido is the president of the National Assembly, is the Congress, to assume presidency.
So basically, you've got a bunch of outside political forces who are saying, we don't recognize this next term of Maduro, who was, for listeners who aren't familiar, Maduro was Hugo Chavez's right-hand man while Chavez was in charge down there. And then when he passed away, Maduro took over, and he's been there ever since through a revaluation of the currency, which is that whole thing's been an absolute nightmare. Roberto, can you hang on? You mentioned you're into cryptocurrency, and there's been a lot of talk about cryptocurrency use down in Venezuela, and I'd like you to comment on that if you don't mind. Can you stick with me?
All right. Yes.
All right, more with Roberto. He's calling from Miami, but he's actually normally living in Venezuela, so he's traveled to Miami for the Miami Bitcoin conference that just ended a few days back. The toll-free number here, if you want to jump on to join us, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. This is Free Talk Live.
Smart Cash is a peer-to-peer digital currency that is fast, secure, and easy to use. Smart Cash also features smart rewards, a price stabilization mechanism, and a way to encourage long-term holding. Long-term holders are key to the project's success. You can earn smart rewards on any address for which you hold the private keys, which holds at least 1,000 smart for 1 month and does not make any outgoing transactions during that time. Smart rewards are distributed every 47,500 blocks to all eligible addresses. Learn more at smartcash.cc.
Do you operate a retail business and are looking for a solution for point-of-sale cryptocurrency acceptance? It's never been easier thanks to AnyPay.global. There's no paperwork or approval process to open an account. If you already have a tablet at your cash register, you're almost done. Just sign up at AnyPay.global, drop your personal crypto wallet addresses in our setup page, and then load our app. That's it. You're accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Dash at your store. Get started now at AnyPay.global. That's AnyPay.global.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Did you know that Free Aid is a mutual aid, educational, and networking organization? At Free Aid, we support volunteers who provide first aid. We do outreach to the public about health and safety, and we bring together medically skilled freedom lovers. Free Aid is made possible by your generous support. Donors can receive great gifts like first aid kits, t-shirts, silver dime cards, and hoodies. The Free Aid Silver Dime Card Project is sponsored in part by Roberts & Roberts Brokerage, Freedom's Phoenix, and Don't Tread on Meme. Visit fr33aid.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. Dial toll free. Take control of the airwaves here, and you can bring up anything at all. Our number is 855-450-FREE. And we've got a gentleman on the line with us right now who is from Venezuela. And actually, Mark met him, his name's Roberto, down at the Miami Bitcoin conference. I want to continue that discussion here about, what's it like from the perspective of an actual Venezuelan. I mean, we've talked to... we've talked about Venezuela a lot here on Free Talk Live, but we haven't actually talked to very many people from Venezuela. So we had one guy who was a listener who lives in Canada, but he's been gone from Venezuela for many, many years. And then we did meet a few of them down at Anarchapulco last year. Some of the folks from a cryptocurrency exchange who are based in Venezuela happen to be there. So we did talk to them, but this is the first time in almost a year that we've had actually the opportunity to speak to someone who is actually living in Venezuela, although, again, he's calling us tonight from Miami. And Free Talk Live is brought to you by Bitcoin.com, your premier source for everything Bitcoin-related. Bitcoin.com can help you choose a Bitcoin wallet, buy some Bitcoin, and even show you where you can spend Bitcoin. Plus, you can read the latest news or engage with the community on the Bitcoin forum. Just go to Bitcoin.com. And if you're brand new to cryptocurrency, Bitcoin.com's got a great academy where you can learn the basics about crypto, and it's free. So head on over to Bitcoin.com. By the way, joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Johnson.
Of course, you can bring up anything that you want, but right now we're talking with Roberto, like I said, from Miami. And Roberto, we were just kind of generally talking about the nightmare of a situation that the folks down there in Venezuela have been having to deal with over the last, many years at this point. It's just particularly spiraled down in the last, I would say, 5 or 6 years. And you're living down there, and you mentioned that you're into cryptocurrency. And I remember from what the email said that you were when you mentioned you were calling, you're also an attorney down there. There's a lot of talk, especially from folks over in the Dash world. So Dash is a cryptocurrency, one of the competitors to Bitcoin. And there's a lot of talk that Dash and maybe some other cryptocurrencies are actually being used in real life down in Venezuela, and that the use is growing. Some people have said that's blown out of proportion, that it's not really as big as it's being made sound. What do you have to say about that from actually living down there?
Well, first what we have to do is put the Venezuelan situation in a context. The context in Venezuela is that we don't have the currency. Materially, we don't have the currency. And all the methods of payment, like, credit card and debit card, are really the infrastructure. The infrastructure doesn't work very well. So the use of cryptocurrency, it helps a lot to deal with the daily basis of payment. And in that moment, then come Dash with a magnificent idea that is joining together the users, the consumers, and the merchants. Particularly, my case, I received even Dash for professional services. I receive also Bitcoin, but Dash. And then you go to places to eat and to buy some stuff where it's crypto used. Basically, Dash. Dash, of course, it has a lot of merchants in Caracas area mainly, but all over Venezuela we have it. You can either pay for a beer or a lunch, or you can buy some appliances of your house. But with some merchants that they realize that this is our daily use. You can use it like you use any credit card. You open your wallet and you receive it, and then legally, what you do is all the receipts are like if you're receiving cash. Exactly. All the operation for tax purposes, it's like if you're receiving cash. That's the way we're working in that. Because if not, if you have your account with Bolivares, every day you lose the value, the real value. So right. We can use, in the case of Venezuela, as a means to preserve value of money. And another way, we can use it as a method of payment. So it's not only because of the situation of the cryptocurrency, but the reality in Venezuela have to see it in that way.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's clear to me why somebody in Venezuela would have a high interest in alternative currencies, specifically cryptocurrency, because it is not affected by the whims of the government. Nobody in Caracas, in the the governor's mansion or wherever, can wave a magic wand and increase the supply of Dash like they've been doing with the Bolivar. So bad that they had to that they changed from the Bolivar Fuerte to the Bolivar Soberano, knocking 5 zeros off of the currency because people were carrying around stacks and stacks of cash just to buy a loaf of bread. It's completely unusable. Go ahead.
All right, and in 2007 they had to take 3 zeros too. So there's not only 5 zeros. 8 zeros out of the
right. You're referring to back when Chavez was still around. They changed it from the Bolivar to what they then called the Bolivar Fuerte, which means strong Bolivar. So that's when they lobbed 3 zeros off, and now it's the sovereign Bolivar where they lobbed another 5 zeros off. So that's the ridiculous situation down there, and it's just scratching the surface of it. Of course, all the economic destruction, all of the nationalization where they just came in and took over private companies and ran them into the ground as state-run organizations. I mean, it's been horrifying.
So I guess my question would be how popular is, I think you had mentioned Dash being one of the more popular cryptos in use. So how popular is Dash, and I guess why isn't it even more popular? Would be my next question.
Well, no, Dash is the most popular one, but even though we have even some cryptos created by Venezuelans, there's one in particular that this kid, he was at that time 14 years old, created his own cryptocurrency with only 14 years old, and it is being used. Of course, it doesn't have the usability of Dash. I mean, but it exists. It's called real coin.
What is it like though when you're in the streets, you're going shopping, or you want to go and find some food or something like that? Are you seeing Dash stickers on doors? I mean, is it obvious that stores are taking cryptocurrency, or is it something you just kind of have to know?
Well, it depends where you go to, because then you have the crime rate is really high. So a lot of people consider that the cryptocurrency is very linked to US dollar. So if you put a cryptocurrency sticker on your store, you are probably calling people to tell them that you have some dollars and stuff, so you can be robbed.
Oh, so advertising this publicly could bring greater crime to an establishment because they think it means there's money there.
Yes, and also having exchange rate prohibition. Anything that you published into a different currency, different than the Bolivar, you could be committing a criminal act.
Right. It's not legal to take your Bolivars. You cannot go into a bank in anywhere in Venezuela and exchange Bolivar for dollar. You can't do it.
No, you can't do it. But the worst part is not only that one. You can't publish any price different than in dollars.
Okay.
So if you put this cost this amount of dollars or Dash or Bitcoin or whatever, you could be considered that you're committing a crime.
You're undermining the government's money, basically, is what they would see it as. So you have to post prices in the Bolivar Soberano, which means basically every few hours probably you're having to update all of your prices because they're constantly...
Well, I had this experience. Once I heard it happened in Argentina, but this really happened to me. I was with a couple of friends.
Hold that thought, Roberto. We're going to bring you back. I want you to tell your story if you got time. Stick with us. More with Roberto talking about the use of cryptocurrency in real life down in Venezuela. He says it's happening, and that Dash is the go-to. It's very interesting. There's more coming up here on Free Talk Live.
The United States of Empire is a book that claims the United States is the empire of the world. George Washington had warned us against foreign wars. The United States of Empire shows that World Wars I and II left England broken. Its former colony, the U.S., had to save the empire. Was there ever a vote? Who do we fight for? The deep state began with World War I. The United States of Empire by James Dunn. Available at Amazon Books.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, hey.
Who do you think
Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait on account. Now. Wait a minute.
Whoa.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me?
Because you scared me.
You
What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
There are basically two types of advertising: direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp, is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial toll-free. Join us right here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've also got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms. Just go to discord.lrn.fm. You'll find them there, and that's another way you can get on the air with us and sound almost like you're sitting in the studio with me, Ian. Oops, sorry, Johnson. I turned on mic 2 because you're normally on mic 2. But tonight,
and me, Johnson.
Tonight, you're on mic 3 because you have a monster laptop and you can't even fit over there in the second seat. So, so you can bring up anything you want. We actually have a call here that we're continuing with Roberto in Miami, although normally he lives in Venezuela. And, of course, we're fascinated in a train wreck sort of way by what's going on down there. Of course, it's an exercise in total statism, socialism.
Yeah.
inflation, hyperinflation, and just the ravages of those policies.
10 years of democratic socialism
on the economy, and of course, therefore, the people there, who many of them are now very, very hungry. They're not eating full meals regularly. The average person in Venezuela has lost more than a dozen pounds. I think it was close to like 17 pounds or something like that in 1 year's time, and then another set of pounds in another year's time, and it's just been absolutely terrible. Unfortunately, the ruling strongman there, Nicolas Maduro, has not been forced out of office. He's still there and still very well fed.
Well, think about how much worse things would be if he wasn't in office.
Well, actually,
isn't that the argument that people would make here?
I don't know. I mean, we've got it bad here.
Stockholm syndrome for people's favorite politicians.
At least here, you can go to the grocery store and actually find food. It's pretty hard to get some of the most basic items, from what I understand there. Roberto, you're back on with us here. You were going to tell us a story about, I think it had something to do with cryptocurrency and your friends, and you were just getting started, but we ran out of time.
Well, nobody told me. You believe it? I suffered it myself. I was with some friends, and we were having some beers, and the price of the beer, the first beer you asked, it was this price. And at the end of the night, you had like 3 times the price. Imagine what you asked for. Well, that's what happens. I mean, hour by hour. I mean, you can ask for a beer, and it costs us, for example, $1. And if you pay it at this moment, it's 1. But if you pay it at the end of the night, it's 3. So if you have that in your regular fiat currency, imagine what happens. So that's why what we do is we have all if you have a service, you render a service, you're going to be paid, you change it right away in crypto. Either Dash, either Bitcoin Cash, whatever you can, buy. Mm-hmm. Or if you receive it directly, much better. And then you have to exchange again in order to pay your bills. I mean, your meal or whatever you're going to do. So it is a good idea to have the merchants receive directly in cryptocurrencies instead of you go to the deal of changing and exchanging and sell it.
Now tell me this, what is the, because I know that like around here, we happen to live in Keene, New Hampshire, and I don't know if you know anything about it, you probably don't, but it's one of the more, I guess per capita, we have a lot of businesses that accept cryptocurrency. It's just a small town. So like we're kind of like on the same level the last time I checked with Caracas as far as businesses per capita that accept crypto. So we can go out and we can spend our Dash and Bitcoin and, buy drinks like you're talking about and buy food and we've got a dentist that takes it here. There's an auto repair shop. But some of these businesses, most of them are actually holding on to the crypto because here they don't have to use it to protect themselves against the ravages of hyperinflation, so they're not coming at it from the same perspective. But if they were going to buy, say, from their vendors, their suppliers, the wholesalers, if they were going to purchase, like, let's say the bar needs to buy more beer and he's got a bunch of Dash, in Venezuela, do they change out of the Dash back into the Bolivar Soberano in order to purchase from their suppliers? Or are they actually able to buy from their suppliers? Are any of the suppliers actually taking cryptocurrency? Or do you know?
No, we still have to work on the suppliers. But because suppliers are also, scared because they are, more regulated by the state and by the government. So it is, let's say, first it's used for general use, for the citizens' regular use, and then it moves to more formal companies. And the suppliers, of course, they are a big change, and so they're more control, like the tax and all the government agencies have more control of them. So they don't look very, very well this up to now, because it's growing and growing more. One thing that you could say that the Petro idea helped this is to announce that this exists. So right now, a lot of people think that when you talk about cryptocurrency, it's only a government thing and it's not like a private thing. Because one thing that I mentioned in all my classes, cryptocurrencies in general are the result of civil society, free civil society that creates them. Not any government, not any company, not any bank. I mean, it was civil society alone creating value and preserving value.
It sure is.
Well, yes, indeed it is. That has to be seen.
And I'm actually surprised that the government in Venezuela hasn't tried to outlaw the use of cryptocurrency like Dash.
Well, didn't Maduro try to make one?
Well, we did talk about the Petro, which is just it's vaporware. It doesn't actually exist. It's been almost a year now since they supposedly launched the Petro, and you cannot attain it. They're now handing out paper certificates, Johnson,
of the Petro crypto.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous. Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, have you heard any rumblings about them trying to target cryptocurrency accepting businesses or trying to outlaw that? To only allow people to use the Petro if they find out you're using Dash, that you could be arrested?
Not for using them, but yes, for the miners.
For the miners.
All this began because of the miners. And because mining, it was kind of related with the creation of dollars, and because of their exchange control, they pursued the dollars, the exchange, mostly.
I had heard that they were going after the miners because power is subsidized by the government in Venezuela, and so therefore they didn't want the miners using the subsidized power because, again, you consume a lot of power.
That was an excuse to steal the mining, the miners, and to have them their own. And there are some mafias of the state. You have some generals, some military generals that they have them in their facilities.
Roberto, I'm grateful that you called in here tonight. It's great to have somebody who is familiar with Free Talk Live that can actually tell us what life is like there on the ground. You said that tomorrow there's going to be a large gathering of protesters outside of the presidential palace there in Venezuela, and they're going to be demanding, it sounds like that Maduro stepped down. Many countries around South America are not recognizing him as the president anymore, so this could be coming to a head tomorrow. If you feel like calling any other time to update us on what's happening, feel free. I want to say thank you for calling in here tonight. Is there a way do you have a website or anything that you want to promote, perhaps, for our listeners?
Well, at this moment, no, but you can put Centro Cultura, put it like this, centroculturadigital.com.
I couldn't quite make that out. Centro Cultura?
I know it's Centro, like center, Centro.
Cultura, like culture?
Cultura, like culture.
What was the third word? That's the one I didn't get.
Centro, like center, centro.
No, the third word.
Cultura, like culture.
And then the one after that.
Digital.
Okay, that was the word I couldn't make out.
So if you need to spell that, you just say Center Cultural Digital and put it into Google Translator.
And that'll do it.
And you'll get your...
Roberto, thanks for the call tonight. I do appreciate hearing from you. Enjoy Miami while you're there, and thank you. Appreciate that. That's Roberto down there originally from Venezuela, still lives in Venezuela there in Miami. Fascinating and just absolutely horrifying stuff. In fact, there are, of course, unending horrible news headlines coming out of Venezuela. In my show prep here for the last few weeks, I've had this one. Headline from Fox News: desperate women fleeing Venezuela sell hair, breast milk, and sex to get by. And then in more recent news from the Associated Press, apparently some of the soldiers in Venezuela had a revolt. And so we can tell you more about that as well. If you want to bring up whatever's on your mind, you can take control of the airwaves here. Then on the way, Johnson, you've got a story about a potential porn site block/ban tax. There's some crazy news coming out of the Trump administration, and I think you've got that story for us on the way here tonight. Of course, you can join us. The toll-free number, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. It is Free Talk Live.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
There are basically two types of advertising: direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Would you like to get back that full head of hair from years past? Introducing Reveal from GCNlife.com. Beverly Hills dermatologist Dr. Nathan Newman invented Reveal, which contains polypeptides with natural botanicals and no parabens, sulfates, silicones, or dyes for a salon-quality hair growth product. Reveal. Here's Dr. Newman.
I have treated a lot of patients who lose their hair and they lose their confidence. We've created a unique set of polypeptides, which we call HPT6. The HPT6 contains the polypeptides from 6 different plants. The scalp infusion treatment should be used on wet or dry scalp. The Reveal hair care system is designed to be used for men and women alike.
Get Reveal at GCNlife.com with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So try Reveal today at GCNlife.com or 844-443-6637. Plus a discount up to 25% off for Reveal at GCNlife.com or 844-443-6637.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nesquik. Try Nesquik 4-packs, perfect for lunches and great for kids on the go. Look for it in the juice aisle. Snack time is a great chance to sneak extra calcium into your child's diet without making him feel like he's eating something he doesn't want. Serve up dairy-rich foods like smoothies, flavored milk, frozen yogurt, and string cheese. He'll love the treat, and you'll love knowing how good it is for him. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It is Free Talk Live. Dial in toll-free if you want to join us on the radio here. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've also got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. And, of course, you can join us online and do a lot of stuff on our website. The site is completely free, unlike a bunch of other websites out there that other talk show hosts would offer to you, where they want to charge you $5, $6, $7, $8 a month. Free Talk Live charges you $0. You get access to archives that go way back over a decade. Of course, we get the webcam and so many other things that you can access through freetalklive.com. And if you want to help support Free Talk Live, please become a Free Talk Live amplifier like Gene the Christian Anarchist, one of our longest running Free Talk Live supporters. He is a silver amplifier, which is $5 a month. And it's money that we invest into Free Talk Live so that we can spread the ideas of freedom further and further. We're on almost 200 stations today, not all at the same time, but over an entire week we air on almost 200 radio stations. And we could be on more. It just takes money, it takes time, it takes effort. And so the AMP program helps us do that. So please, if you like what we're doing here on Free Talk Live, go to amp.freetalklive.com. You can get signed up there, and you can do it for, as I say, $5 a month. You get some cool perks. The whole list of those is there over at amp.freetalklive.com. PayPal, credit card, and Bitcoin BTC. Sorry, go ahead.
Speaking of websites, there was this crazy URL that was given out just a little bit ago here. It
was Spanish. It wasn't crazy.
It was Spanish. Well, I mean, it was crazy. It was a URL that if it were in English would still be crazy because it would be very long to give out, right? So I simplified it. tinyurl.com/ccd Venezuela.
Okay.
And that actually also translates the site into English badly.
Really?
But I made it basically a Google Translate URL.
Oh, cool. I didn't know you could do that.
People, TinyURL will accept whatever URL you throw at it. So I threw at it the Google Translate URL. So basically, if you go to ccd Venezuela on TinyURL, you will get a poorly translated copy of the page, but you can get the gist of what they're doing on that page.
Right on. So, that's for the last caller that we had who spent most of the hour with us talking about life in Venezuela.
And if you do speak Spanish, you'll get the site's URL, because I don't think we made it clear that it's .mx and not .com.
So it's a Mexican domain name.
Yeah.
So coming up, we're going to talk about this porn, not really ban, but it could lead to a porn ban, porn tax, porn regulation, porn essentially blocker. We'll tell you about that. That's a big story, and that's on the way. But since we're talking Venezuela, I do have this story about and this was just just within the last, I think, day or so. The Associated Press, yesterday, reporting in Caracas that Venezuela has plunged deeper into turmoil as of Monday as security forces put down a pre-dawn uprising by National Guardsmen that triggered violent street protests, and the Supreme Court moved to undercut the opposition-controlled Congress's defiant new leadership. Socialist Party Chief Diosdado Cabello said 27 guardsmen were arrested, and more could be detained as the investigation unfolds. The mutiny struck at a time when opposition leaders have regained momentum in their efforts to oust President Nicolas Maduro. They have called for a nationwide demonstration tomorrow. That's what our caller was talking about, urging Venezuelans, especially members of the armed forces, to abandon Maduro. The uprising triggered protests in a poor neighborhood just a few miles from Venezuela's presidential palace. And before I go on with the story, do you remember last year, Johnson, there was this, I think it was early last year, there was this guy who was like a former cop and also an actor in Venezuela who stole a helicopter and threw grenades down at the Supreme Court building from a helicopter.
No.
You never heard about that story?
No.
It was pretty crazy. So he threw.
Come with me if you want to live.
Right? Yeah. He
was to take over the building now.
He was a big buff Venezuelan movie star action hero who literally threw live grenades at the Supreme Court building. They tried to chase him down. He managed to escape for a period of time until they finally raided wherever it was he was hiding out, and I think they killed him.
We're going to deliver the justice.
Get to the chopper. So, but
I just feel like there'd be action hero lines about, you've been judged.
This isn't the first time. So this uprising here isn't the first time somebody who used to be with the Venezuelan state has turned up against it. It's just a much larger one with 27 guardsmen arrested, and again, more could be detained. They say here that the protests in a poor neighborhood just a few miles from the presidential palace was dispersed with tear gas as residents set fire to a barricade of trash and chanted demands that Maduro leave power. The military said in a statement that it had recovered all the weapons and captured those involved in what it described as, quote, treasonous acts that were motivated by, quote, obscure interests tied to the far right. Because everything in Venezuela is the fault of America or the right wing or whatever. It has nothing to do with socialism, the failure of socialism or terrible monetary policy.
Isn't it strange how that independently, as soon as a country goes socialist, it fails? As soon as they drop capitalist economies, that they fail. And somehow it's always, regardless of how linked they are to the United States at all, or how much they're linked to any kind of right-wing political ideology at all, it's the fault of the right-wing political ideology, despite independently all these countries just happening to all be socialist.
Yes, and of course, it's always the socialists themselves will always say that, they did it wrong.
Right.
They just should have done it my way. If they'd done it my socialist vision, then it would have worked.
If only they were a Nordic country.
Well, and now it's an interesting point, because I think Ocasio-Cortez has been talking about that recently, how she wants to do Nordic socialism,
but they're not really socialist.
Well, yeah, that's what I forget. I think it was FEE, maybe the Foundation for Economic Education, or Mises. One or the other had a good piece about why the Nordic countries aren't really that socialist at all. I mean, sure, they've got tax and spend wealth redistribution programs just like the United States does.
Right.
But for the most part, the point you were making was they leave their industry alone, and they're not going in and nationalizing all kinds of industries. I mean, I remember reading the story about Venezuela's nationalization. Literally hundreds of businesses there taken over by force by the Venezuelan state. And of course, as we've talked on recent episodes, when the government runs a thing, it does a terrible job because governments aren't subject to the same market signals that people in the marketplace are.
We're going to seize the means of production. Wait,
and then ruin
you mean you don't know how to run the machine?
Right.
Well, you mean you've never worked in a day in your life? How are we going to make the... I don't know.
Well, imagine that. The productive people at that factory might want to leave once they start, being told what to do by a bunch of bureaucrats.
Right.
And these bureaucrats, of course, are making just miserable decisions. They ran those companies into the ground.
Or a bunch of dummy socialist kids that don't know what they're talking about or doing.
Right. It would be one thing if they took over the corporation and then didn't touch it. But they, of course, try to, do it better, presumably, and then run it into the ground. And then all that at the same time is debasing the value out of the currency. So you basically, even if it weren't run poorly by the government, the odds would still be against them, simply because, as the last guy was pointing out, you go to a bar in Venezuela, you better not open a tab. Because the price goes up with every single drink. You finish your first beer, next one costs more.
Right.
I mean, it's just absolutely insane. It's hard for people to, I think, even imagine what that must be like. I mean, we can hear about it, but do we really know what it's like to have that experience of the price being one thing when you walk into a place and being another price entirely when you walk out? The toll-free number, if you want to join us here, is 855-450-FREE. Set around 2.
I've experienced that a couple times.
Where?
With crypto.
Yeah. But
crypto prices sometimes moved very quickly, and it can be in either direction.
That's true.
Sometimes you'll be like, wait, if you waited too long or whatever, the price is now in crypto is worth so much more that the price is, gone down by 10% or something.
Yeah, and we've had drops on Bitcoin just this week and rises.
I was going to say frequently, for example, with Purse, it's happened where, Bitcoin's going up or whatever, and you buy something, you get the Purse discount, and then by the time you've actually gotten the item, the price of the crypto has increased. I think it's increased is what I'm thinking about this scenario, where the discount is now meaningless. Because if you had held on to the crypto,
you would have done better.
You would have either done better or... It's hard to do better, but you would have done just about the same, But that's fine.
That's true. Well, and
it's still an efficient way to buy something. It's,
most of the time it works out.
Yeah.
99% of the time on Purse, it's going to work in your favor.
And the whole reason why the crypto is going up in the first place is because people are using it. So,
Yeah. And it's useful, and it does what it says it's going to do. And even though its value can fluctuate, and it can fluctuate somewhat wildly, it's nowhere near as bad as the loss of value that is being suffered by the holders of the Bolivar.
Right.
Because that's just consistent loss after loss after loss, day after hour after minute. There's more coming up here. You can share your thoughts. Things, are they going to come to a head tomorrow in Venezuela? There's a big protest planned. Your calls and thoughts are welcome if you want to join us. Also on the way, this porn news out of the Trump administration. Johnson's got that story, and doesn't sound good. Hour 2's coming up.
We trust the power of artificial intelligence to do a lot for us. Recommend books, movies, find our perfect romantic match, even drive our cars. So why trust your investments to yesterday's technology? With Vantage Point, you don't have to. Vantage Point's patented artificial intelligence technology has been giving traders and investors the advantage they need and better protect them from sudden downturns. Because unlike humans, Vantage Point is able to analyze massive quantities of data all around the world in seconds, so you get the information you need to make the right decision at the right time. Our technology can forecast market trend changes with up to 86% accuracy. Wouldn't you sleep better knowing your hard-earned capital is protected and growing thanks to Vantage Point? Stack the odds in your favor. Text DEMO to 411-411. That's DEMO to 411-411. We'll send you a link to our free demo so you can kick off the new year in the black with Vantage Point software. Text DEMO to 411-411.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, January 22nd, 2019. Silver is trading at $15.21 per ounce. Gold is $1,278 per ounce. Smart cash is trading at 1.16 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $3,551. Antiwar.com reports after rejecting a Pakistani proposal for peace talks in Islamabad, the Taliban met with U.S. Special Envoy Zalmay Khalilzad in Qatar, beginning a new round of talks on ending the Afghan war. This did not just come after rejecting Pakistan's proposal, which the Taliban didn't want to take in part because the Afghan government was invited, but also just hours after the Taliban launched a major bombing attack in Afghanistan's Wardak province, killing 126 security forces. Reports are that the focus of the talks was on ending the war, with the Taliban hoping to get a specific timetable for withdrawal of U.S. troops. This is likely an even higher priority after U.S. requests for long-term bases threaten to derail the talks. There have been talks that the U.S. was hoping to have this deal wrapped up around April or May, which is why the U.S. wanted the Afghan government to delay their election. This is doubly true because there were reports the U.S. was offering the Taliban positions within a new interim Afghan government.
Smart Cash is a peer-to-peer digital currency that is fast, secure, and easy to use. Smart Cash is building a foundation that can support daily transactions for people everywhere. One feature that sets Smart Cash apart is the Smart Hive governance model and how the community can vote to fund the best projects with block rewards stored in the Smart Hive project treasury. Unlike other cryptocurrencies with voting systems, Smart Cash allows everyone to participate. One smart equals one vote. Learn more at smartcash.cc.
UPI reports Democratic lawmakers from California have introduced bills in both houses of Congress that would give legal status to undocumented farm workers in the United States. The proposed legislation has widespread support from American farmers who worry about losing their workers. Brian Garwood, the owner of Garwood Orchards, a fruit farm in northern Indiana, said it would be a great thing if it got passed. I just don't have a lot of hope anymore that this will happen. The bills, SB 175 and HR 641, drafted by Senator Dianne Feinstein and Representative Zoe Lofgren, would allow farmers who have been in the fields for at least 100 days in the last 2 years to apply for a blue card to authorize them to work legally in the United States. The workers would have to pass background checks and pay fees. Children and spouses who live in the country would also be eligible. The House bill is co-sponsored by 58 representatives from 20 states and the District of Columbia. And the Senate bill has 11 co-sponsors, including Senators Kamala Harris of California and Bernie Sanders of Vermont. Both bills have been referred to committee. cities. Farmers all over the country have long sought this kind of legislation. While some commodity crops like corn and soybeans can be harvested by machines, most of the vegetables and fruits that people eat must be picked by hand. That work was once done by Americans, but starting around the 1980s, they stopped taking the jobs. Farm laborers usually earn between $13 to $20 per hour, but it's backbreaking work that most Americans aren't willing to do. This is true across the country, according to the Farm Bureau. The majority of farm laborers in the United States today are from Mexico, Guatemala, or other Latin American countries. Some of those workers came to the United States legally through guest worker programs. Others did not. Many of the migrant laborers currently working on American farms have been in the United States for years or even decades.
You can support FPP Radio by shopping online. Whether you're looking for precious metals, bitcoins, or books, you'll find that and more at shop.fppradio.com. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates, like Namecheap and Amazon, at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. Or you can shop directly from FPP with Bitcoin in the Bitcoin store. That's shop.fppradio.com.
Reuters reports some 30,000 striking Los Angeles teachers will stay off the job through at least Tuesday, despite headway in marathon contract talks, according to the union on Monday, citing time needed for teachers to ratify any tentative deal before the walkout can end. The United Teachers Los Angeles Union said in a statement that the two sides are making progress in the negotiations aimed at settling a labor dispute that has disrupted classes for some 500,000 students in America's second largest school district. Teachers walked off the job a week ago in their first strike in 3 decades against the Los Angeles Unified School District, demanding higher pay, smaller class sizes, and the hiring of more support staff such as nurses and guidance counselors. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
This week, the Forest Service rolled out a brand new Smokey the Bear campaign in which the popular mascot burns to death. They say they hope the shocking turn will get people serious about preventing forest fires for once. The new campaign depicts Smokey the Bear noticing a family leave a flame unattended. Before he can put it out, the entire forest is consumed and Smokey dies in agony while trying to fight the blaze. Despite educating the public for over 70 years, the Forest Service says wildfires have only gotten worse and it was time to take their warnings to the next level. The new ads aim to show that if Smokey the Bear can be killed by the very type of fire he works so tirelessly to prevent, it could happen to anyone at any time. So what's next for the long-running campaign? Well, now that their primary spokesperson is out of the picture, the Ad Council says the PSAs will shift focus to a new character named Little Brian. He's the boy whose family caused the fire in the first place, and he's grappling with crippling guilt over Smokey's death.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Hello, Free Talk Live. You dial toll free. Bring up what you want. The number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We do have the Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. You can join us there and bring up anything that's on your mind. Coming up, John McAfee is on the run from the U.S. federal government. He is sending out Twitter updates from a ship in international waters at this point, having escaped from the United States. We have a couple of those statements. I do want to play them when we get a chance.
I mean, I thought he would have been on the run from the bet he made on Twitter a while ago.
You mean the one about cryptocurrency?
Yes.
Well, I think he's got until 2021
sure.
on that. So
well,
he's got a little time.
Yeah, it seems a little bit
where
far-fetched at this point.
Where he said he would eat a piece of his own body, basically, perhaps.
He would chow down on his own anatomy.
Yeah, if crypto or Bitcoin didn't reach 1 million? Was it? Was it 1 million?
Something like that.
By 2021?
I think so.
And you're saying you're predicting it's not going to reach 1 million by 2021.
I think it's going to go back up, but the crypto is going to gain value again, but I don't know about $1 million by that time.
So I want to get to that, but that's a little bit later. Also, this porn-related news.
And also, it wasn't crypto and generic. It was Bitcoin.
It was Bitcoin specifically. Yeah. So, Johnson, you've got a story about the Trump administration and a potential porn restriction / taxation. We'll talk more about that. Your calls and thoughts are also welcome. We go to the phones here. We go to Sarah in New Mexico. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Yes. So here in New Mexico, 2018. We actually had a 66 homicides, 66 people killed, and then 2/3 of that was by gun violence. Yes, and it was stolen guns on top of it all off, illegal. Like 52 or 54 was killed by guns, illegal guns.
And your point is what?
Well, actually, my whole point is we were actually doing better than last year, because I think the last year's homicide was like 72 or 75.
Okay.
So this is like an improvement.
Do you think something changed between last year and this year? Or is it just random?
I have no idea what changed. I do not know. But what I'm getting at is I want the death penalty back. Even if they never use it. I want, you know what?
Why? Why would you want to have the death penalty back? What do you think that's going to change?
Well, I mean, look at our homicide rate. You guys have a death penalty, and you guys have very less homicide rate than we do.
Yeah, but there's only one person who's actually on death row in New Hampshire, and that's somebody who killed a cop. So they don't actually hand out the death penalty for most people who commit homicide. So that's not
That's what I'm talking about. That's the point, is that if they have it on death row and they know that you can be executed, you could be, that's what we had. We had a death penalty here like 10 years ago. We never executed anybody except once every 20 years.
But it doesn't make any difference. There have been studies done on this that show that more punitive punishments don't actually have any kind of an effect on crime rate.
Why don't we just have torture? Why a death penalty? Then they're just gone. I mean, why don't we flay people? Or what about the rack? Remember the rack?
What are you talking about, Ian? You say
that was Johnson.
It makes so different?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm telling you, our homicide have jumped up since we got rid of it for 15 years, before and afterwards. Why are you always making all these things up?
Nobody's making anything
We're
up.
asking a question.
You didn't answer Johnson's question. Can you ask it again, Johnson?
Sure. So I'm just wondering why stay limited to the death penalty? Why don't we use deterrence and threaten people with torture, like the rack, or flaying them alive, or maybe we burn people?
How about hooking up a car battery to somebody's testicles or something like that?
Well, I mean that's not necessary. It doesn't have to be that way. But if you kill a police or you rape and murder like a 9-year-old girl, that's who we need to execute, just as an example, and they die a very peaceful death.
What kind of execution do you consider to be peaceful? Because there are several different types of execution out there. Do you have a preference?
But I mean, do you think they suffer that much as somebody getting shot? What about the person that's getting shot or getting strangled to death? They just fall asleep. The first shot is to knock you out.
You sound like a conservative. You sound like a right-wing conservative with this tough-on-crime nonsense that has been disproven so many times. There are so many different studies that have looked at this and found that when you've got a society with the death penalty, that it actually doesn't deter any extra crime. Because the fact is, a lot of murder is a crime of passion. It's a crime in the moment, right? Where the classic example, a husband comes home, finds his wife in bed with another man. He wasn't planning to kill anybody, but he did anyway in that moment. The fact of, I might die for this murder doesn't go through somebody's mind in the moment.
You know what? You make up all this stuff like, before red light cameras and after red light cameras. We have all of this traffic fatalities go up every time it's out. All the red light cameras are gone. We're like number one in pedestrian fatalities. We get them up. We drop down to number 7. You guys have the death penalty. All the states have death penalty. They have lower homicide rates.
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. I think you're making that up.
Why did you say that you're making that up?
I think you're making it up. I think you're making it up because you've got bloodlust. You want to see people. How about we bring back public executions? Would you go if they, rolled out the old guillotine into the public square there in Albuquerque? Would you go watch, cheer it on?
No, I would not watch.
No?
I like the system that we got now.
You just like hearing about people being put to death? That makes you feel good to hear about it? You wouldn't go and actually watch it?
You know what about the people that they killed? What do you think about that? Do you think they suffered something?
Of course they suffered something, but you know what? Two wrongs don't make a right, Sarah.
What would you say if I told you that there was a direct correlation, not necessarily causation, but a direct correlation between the rise in drug-related deaths, right, and crime in New Mexico, and the increase in funding in New Mexico law enforcement and border patrol? So that the crime rate has risen directly in correlation with the increase in funding to law enforcement.
Now, correlation is not causation, Johnson. Right. Are you getting at something there?
That when you increase law, you increase crime.
Make more laws.
You know what? That's incorrect data. Our crime rate has been going down since our Democratic mayor.
He wasn't talking about Albuquerque.
I'm not talking about Albuquerque. I'm talking about the state of New Mexico. And I have statistics that lead up to 2017, so I don't know if past 2017, but it was increasing from 2014 to 2017 fairly dramatically in terms of drug violence.
Well, our crime rate has been going down because we have increased our police.
Crime rates are going down all around the country and in the world in general.
But here's the thing: why do you live in a place where you have police? Okay, you guys have more police.
I wish I could live in a place where we didn't have police, but it's not really an option.
Not today.
Okay, no, we got more crime than you guys do, and so why are you saying that you want to live in a place with no police, and you live in a place with police, and you guys have less crime, and we got more crime? Well, we just barely included another 70 police officer here in Albuquerque.
Yeah, well, more cops do not equal less crime, which was the point that Johnson was trying to make. Thank you, Sarah, for the call tonight. It's hard to make any points to Sarah because she is good at talking but not listening. Not good at listening.
I don't want to look at data.
No, she definitely doesn't. She has her narrative, and she's going to stick to it. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. And plus, if you put a murderer to death, then there's no way that murderer could ever try to at least do some form of compensation to the victim's family. In theory, libertarian kind of...
Ironically, auto theft in Albuquerque specifically is on a dramatic increase.
Libertarian, the theory of restitution, which is what a lot of libertarians promote, instead of punitive punishment, would be at least some way for a victim or victim's family to be made partially or somewhat whole. You obviously can't fill the whole loss by the individual, but at least it would be something. Because just getting vengeance is not going to make you feel whole again. That's for damn sure. More coming up. It's Free Talk Live.
Ike was such a sweet, lovable animal, and people would want to pet him, and they'd come up, and they'd get close to him, and it would be this instant, oh! My dad didn't want to touch him. It's like, ooh, get the stinky dog away from me.
Even after we'd give her a bath, she would still stink.
Very stinky, both bad breath and bad gas. I asked the vet, and he said some dogs are just stinky.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa.
The digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
The ingredients convinced me that it was definitely worth trying. After about a week, he started smelling normal. My husband and I were really kind of astonished.
Dinovite is nutrition.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Smart Cash is a peer-to-peer digital currency that is fast, secure, and easy to use. Smart Cash is building a foundation that can support daily transactions for people everywhere. One feature that sets Smart Cash apart is the Smart Hive governance model and how the community can vote to fund the best projects with block rewards stored in the Smart Hive project treasury. Unlike other cryptocurrencies with voting systems, Smart Cash allows everyone to participate. One smart equals one vote. Learn more at smartcash.cc.
You want to know the 37 items you must have to survive a crisis? Then I've got some good news for you. Former CIA officer and New York Times best-selling author Jason Hansen is now giving listeners a free copy of his book, The Escape Bag Blueprint, 37 Items You Must Have to Survive a Crisis. You can claim your copy at freeescapebook.com. Don't delay. Jason reveals the guns, knives, flashlights, and water filters that could save your life in an economic collapse or grid-down event. Get your free book today, freeescapebook.com. freeescapebook.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, dial toll free, bring up anything that you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've also got the Discord, on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. You can bring up whatever you want. We've been talking about, well, in the first hour, we did a lot of discussion about Venezuela, where we actually had a gentleman call who was originally from Venezuela, lives down there, just was in Miami for the Bitcoin conference down there. And he says that tomorrow, and indeed in the news headlines from yesterday, where there's a soldiers' revolt in Venezuela, it's going to be apparently leading to a large demonstration nationwide happening tomorrow, where people in Venezuela will be calling for Maduro's ouster, essentially. There are countries in South America, plus the U.S. and others, who have publicly stated they no longer respect Maduro as the president, as the purported legitimate leader down there, and looks like things are going to get very, very interesting and possibly dangerous. In this case, 27 National Guardsmen were actually arrested for a mutiny, for an uprising down in Venezuela. The military said they recovered all the weapons and captured those involved in what they described as treason. They said that around 2:50 in the morning, a small group of guardsmen took captive a captain who was in charge of a police station in western Caracas, and then moved across the capital in 2 military trucks to the poor neighborhood of Petare, where they stole a cache of weapons from another outpost. Officials said 25 soldiers were quickly caught at the National Guard outpost 3 kilometers away from the presidential palace, and 2 more arrests were made at another location. A few hours earlier, a group of heavily armed National Guardsmen published a series of videos on social media saying they won't recognize Maduro's government, which has come under increasing domestic and international pressure over a newly begun second term that the opposition-controlled Congress and many nations consider illegitimate. In one of the videos, a man identifying himself as Third Sergeant Alexander Banderas Figueroa, addressing the people of Venezuela, urges his compatriots to take to the streets and show support for their rebellion. He said this on the video, quote, "You asked to take to the streets to defend the Constitution? Well, here we are," he said in a video shot at night in which several heavily armed men and a National Guard truck can be seen in the background. Quote, "You wanted us to light the fuse? So we did. We need your support." Isn't this interesting that, uprisings and military coups and these sorts of things are now happening on social media, that you now can hear directly from the people who are doing the rabble rousing in this case. Rather than having to rely on what the media says they said, you can actually just go straight to whatever Twitter or YouTube or Facebook or wherever it was this video was posted. At daybreak in the adjacent neighborhood of Cotiza, a group of shirtless young men, some with their faces covered, built a barricade across the street with a burning car, heavy sewer grates, and a large chunk of concrete. An angry group of women shouted that they've lived for too long without running water, and tear gas fired by security forces choked their children. They chanted, "Freedom, freedom, Maduro has to go." "We must defend our homeland," said Maria Rodriguez, a 36-year-old manicurist, her eyes welling from the tear gas. Hours later, the government-stacked Supreme Court said it was throwing out recent measures by the National Assembly that declared Maduro's presidency illegitimate, deepening a standoff with the opposition-controlled legislature. So you've got a situation there where the president is, by many, seen as illegitimate. You've got the National Assembly, their equivalent of Congress, saying, we don't think this president is legitimate, but the Supreme Court, controlled by the president, saying, well, we don't think your National Assembly is legitimate. And in fact, they even made a so-called People's Assembly. I think this was like a year or so ago where they formed this, completely without, constitutional authority, completely formed by Maduro, staffed and stacked to the brim with his adherents. So there's like these two competing assemblies that don't recognize each other's legitimacy, and man, it's just it's awful. The justices ruled the new leadership of Congress itself is invalid and urged the country's chief prosecutor to investigate whether congressional leaders acted criminally in openly defying the nation's constitution. Juan Guaido, a 35-year-old newly seated as president of Congress, appealed to the military, urging them to demand that Maduro abandon power in a nationwide protest Wednesday. That's tomorrow. A historic date commemorating the end of Venezuela's military dictatorship in 1958. So 60 years ago, there was the end to the military dictatorship in Venezuela. That is, the anniversary of that is tomorrow. Guaido said in a video on social media, quote, "We're not asking you to mount a coup. We are not asking you to shoot. On the contrary, we're asking you to not shoot at us, but rather to defend together with us the right of our people to be heard." Late Monday, Colombian TV played a video showing a group of unidentified men claiming to be soldiers who are friends of Venezuela's armed forces holed up in Colombia, saying they're responding to Guaido by preparing an advance into Venezuela to help restore democracy. The video shown on NTN TV in Bogota shows roughly 24 men wearing combat fatigues but unarmed. AP could not identify independently where the soldiers were located or their identities. Dozens of foreign governments have refused to recognize Maduro's second term, some saying they're ready to recognize Guaido as interim president until fair elections can be held. Now, of course, one of the problems in Venezuela is the opposition isn't necessarily pro-freedom. They're just the opposition. They're just not as bad as Maduro. They may actually be socialists. I'm not sure. I don't know much about Guaido or whatever his party it is that he ran with. But I wouldn't expect him to, be this great bringer of liberty for Venezuela. And finally, in addition, the Trump administration is weighing tougher financial sanctions on Venezuela, while a dozen mostly conservative Latin American and Caribbean governments say they'll block officials from Maduro's government from entering their countries to take steps to freeze assets that are the byproduct of corruption. With discontent, or rather wild discontent, among Venezuelans is rising amid widespread food shortages and hyperinflation. Maduro is believed to have the loyalty of his top military command. In the past, troops have easily put down small uprisings. But, 27 National Guardsmen isn't something to turn your nose up at. I mean, that's an indicator that there is something afoot here, that there may be the chance for things to change for the better in Venezuela. But I guess we'll see what happens with tomorrow's protests. If you hear about it first and you want to let us know, feel free to jump on the lines with us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. It's 855-450-3733. And coming up here, Johnson, you've got news about the Trump administration. I'm not sure who exactly is proposing this, whether it's Trump himself or somebody else, but the proposal has to do with a porn restriction in the United States.
I don't know that this is going anywhere, but it's interesting that it's happening nonetheless.
Right, because we talked recently about some potential porn crackdowns by the Trump administration, and this could be the first one. So we'll get into that coming up next. Your calls and thoughts are welcome. If you want to join us, dial in here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Hi, this is Dr. Joel Wallach, the Mineral Doctor. You've heard me talk about 90 for Life for years. 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, 2 fatty acids. You may not know this, that I've actually designed Arthrodex for animals. That's right. Your pets need 90 for Life, too. Get this essential pet product by calling 877-279-9422. That's 877-279-9422. Again, 877-279-9422.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it! You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll free. Coming up, John McAfee is on a boat in international waters. He has escaped from the United States after indictments apparently were handed down. A grand jury deciding to bring up charges for McAfee. We'll tell you what that's about. He's got a video. We'll just play that for you. It's not profane, thankfully, so we'll just put that on the air.
A miracle.
And so we'll get to that. That's on the way. Plus this news about some kind of a porn block / tax. I don't know. I haven't read it. Johnson, you've got the story. That's on the way as well. Plus, Freedom's Phoenix is a liberty-oriented news aggregation site. If you want the newest and freshest stories and perspectives on current events from those who value liberty, freedomsphoenix.com has it. Their daily dispatch is the best way to stay up to date on science, technology, historical findings, liberty news, government overspending, and the rise of the police state. Freedoms with an S, phoenix.com. That's freedomsphoenix.com. As we continue here, we'll get to the news about Trump and the porn sites here. But first, Mehdi is on the line in Canada. Go ahead, Mehdi.
Hi, hey, how's it going?
Good. What's on your mind tonight?
Good. So I had a friend who told me something about Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And I don't know a lot about Bitcoin. He's pretty intelligent and stuff. And so if he's thinking this, I'm sure other people are. And I didn't know who, I mean, you guys are the best people to kind of dissect this, where the fail is in his logic or what's true, what's not true. I'm sure there's some half-truth in what he was saying. But he was saying Bitcoin is bound to fail. It's going to ultimately fail. And his reasoning was that he said that for Bitcoin transactions to occur, so like moving one Bitcoin from one wallet to another wallet or something like that, like transactions of Bitcoin, requires miners to mine Bitcoin.
That's right.
And he said, then he said that since Bitcoin is finite and there's a finite amount of Bitcoin, once all the Bitcoin has been mined, then everything is now at a standstill and Bitcoins can't be transferred anymore. And
not true.
Everything is frozen.
That is not true.
Where's the fail in that then? Like, that's what I mean. I'm sure there's half-truths in it, but what's wrong with that?
Yeah, okay. So there's two aspects to the mining process as far as the mining, how they get paid. So the miners of Bitcoin get paid whichever miner it is that finds the block. Now, I don't want to get into the details of exactly how that works, because honestly, I'm not an engineer and I couldn't even begin to explain it. But essentially, that's what the miners are doing. They're competing to solve a problem. They're trying to solve like a cryptographic problem. And and when they're doing this, only one of them can solve it, and the first one to solve it is the one that gets what they call the block reward, which is right now 12.5 Bitcoins. It was 25 Bitcoins, and it was 50 Bitcoins. When Bitcoin first started a decade ago, it was 50 Bitcoins per block was the block reward. Then after a series of years, it went down to 25, and then it's down to 12.5. And after another few years, it's going to go down to 6.25, and it's going to half after that and half after that. So over time, the amount of the block reward gets smaller and smaller and smaller as time goes on. Now, presumably, Bitcoin will become more valuable as that time goes on, so it doesn't really matter that the reward's going down, until the point when Bitcoin reaches 21 million Bitcoins that have been mined into existence. I think right now, I don't have the number in front of me, but the last time I looked, I think it was at around 17 million was the number of Bitcoins. You can check that over at coinmarketcap.com. They've got the list. But 17 million Bitcoins. So there's, we're not done yet. Some of the estimates have said it may take until like the year 2140, basically, so basically another 100 years to actually get all of the 21 million Bitcoins mined. I suspect, Mehdi, that by 2140, Bitcoin will no longer be the number one cryptocurrency. It may have been surpassed by, some kind of quantum bucks or something like that. Who knows, what kind of developments in money will happen in the next 100 years, considering all of the crazy changes in the Bitcoin world in just the last 10. So, but all that aside, let's say we get to 2140. Let's say Bitcoin is still the number one cryptocurrency. Nothing has displaced it. Nothing has defeated it. It's still number one. And so the mining rewards, it finally runs out. We hit 21 million. What happens then? And this was your question. This was the concern was, well, what would be the incentive for the miners after we get to that 21 million? And the answer is the Bitcoin fees. So every time you pay for a whatever it is you're buying something with Bitcoin. You're on saveitpurse.com. Every time you send Bitcoin somewhere, there is a fee in order to send that Bitcoin. It's a fee that you, the customer, you, the buyer, pays to send your Bitcoin. So that's different than what we're used to with fees in the financial world. Normally a fee is something that's assessed if we're talking about buying a thing. If you use a credit card, there's a fee that the merchant has to pay. So the merchant takes that out of the profits that they receive from you, and you generally don't see on the receipt what the credit card company is getting out of the sale. But that's usually how the fees work there. But with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, the fee is different because you're the one the buyer is paying. So if I'm buying, if I'm at the local corner shop here in Keene and I'm buying, a newspaper or something like that, it might be $1 for the newspaper. And if I'm paying with Dash, I might pay 1/10 of a penny in Dash in order to send that transaction to the recipient. So every Bitcoin transaction has these fees, and so in a moment there's however many thousands of Bitcoin transactions going on, and presumably if Bitcoin does continue to be popular in the year 2140 or whenever this thing runs out, there will probably be a lot of Bitcoin transactions every single second, every 10 minutes, every whatever. And so that's a lot of fees that would then go to the miner who found the block. So even though there wouldn't be a block reward at that point, that miner would also get the fees. So right now, today, the miners get the fees and they get the block reward. Once the block rewards run out, they'll still get the fees. So does that answer your question?
Awesome. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Sure. You're welcome. Thanks for the call, Mehdi. I appreciate hearing from you. Yeah.
And can I just ask something?
Sure.
Isn't the guy McAfee, he's predicted Bitcoin to be, I think, 500,000 by 2020.
Was that what it was?
500,000. Yeah,
you checked it?
Yeah,
okay. Yeah.
All right. Anyways, thanks a lot.
I hope he's right. Thanks for the call tonight, Mehdi. I appreciate it. And it's going to make, if Bitcoin gets up to 500,000, or even if it gets up to, 50,000, everybody who, got in at 19,000, if they held on to it, they'll be happy they held on to it. Now, there was that spike that happened last year in December, not last year, 2 years ago now, I guess.
I still have a physical Bitcoin that I got for like $10.
$10 physical Bitcoin. What are those worth today?
It's an error coin, actually.
So it's worth even more than the regular physical Bitcoins, right?
Yes.
So that's worth more than a Bitcoin because of its collector's value.
Well, I mean, last I saw it's generally held steady at being worth about 3 Bitcoin.
Wow, not bad.
So I don't know if it gets up to astronomical values, if that'll get better or worse.
The difficult part of having one of these physical coins is selling it.
Yeah.
Because the more valuable the coin becomes, the more risky the sale actually becomes.
Right. Especially if it's, like if Bitcoin is worth 500,000 and then the thing is worth 1.5 million.
Right. How do you sell that?
Or what, how do you sell something like that? Exactly. And at that point, it will be worth. I mean, it will definitely be worth something like that because, especially, it'll become a collector's item for very wealthy people.
So, I mean, but how do you sell it? I mean, because the average person isn't going to be able to just send you a $1.5 million wire transfer.
Right.
Of course, the average person wouldn't be your potential buyer, but nonetheless, you don't want to put that on the record, right? You don't want to have $1.5 million worth of income right. or whatever because of that.
Yeah.
So what I was thinking was if you have one of these physical Bitcoins and you want to sell it, why not just sell it for more Bitcoin? Because then it would be relatively easy.
Right.
Then somebody could just send you, if it was worth 3 Bitcoin, they could just send you 3 Bitcoin.
Right.
Whatever. If Bitcoin's worth $500,000 or $1 million at that point, that's nothing. It's easy to send Bitcoin. You don't have to ask anyone's permission. Whereas if you were to try to take cash for that thing at $1 million or $500,000 or whatever, that gets really complicated. And that's going to send off red flags at the bank.
You never know if Bitcoin's up that high. Could it crash again? Like it has.
Of course
in the
it
past.
could.
So maybe you want to get the cash
instead of the 3 Bitcoin.
Right.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Because, holding on to 3 Bitcoin, then you're going to have the difficulty of turning 3 Bitcoin into cash.
Then you've got the issue of who do you have sell this thing? Do you have a certified auctioneer do it or something like that? Because how does the buyer trust that you have the real McCoy, that you're not just selling some fake piece of brass or whatever? So it's difficult for the buyer to make the purchase and
got a Bitcoin, got a going once, going away.
So you might have to have some intermediary, some kind of an escrow service that certifies that yes, Johnson really does have a real Cascacious coin.
One of those wrapping auctioneers.
More coming up. Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite.
Dynavite for life.
Pick up 2 tubes of Dogosuds.
Get the 3rd tube free.
Peppermint, tea tree, lavender, Dogosud shampoo.
Made with all-natural coconut, jojoba, aloe. Great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
But no itchy, harsh chemicals.
Lather up, rinse away.
Try Dogosuds. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
A doctor's office visit for erectile dysfunction on my smartphone? That's crazy.
No, that's the best EDpill.com. ED can affect 40% of men by age 40. Now, there's a 95% less expensive option than Viagra. After a live confidential video consult with a fully licensed doctor, we ship medicines fast, free, and direct in discreet packaging. Read thousands of 5-star reviews. Click thebestedpill.com. That's THEbestedpill.com, the online doctor's office.
At WolfHillAmmo.com, we love shotguns. We offer the best specialty shotgun ammo on the market, including our defensive combo packs for home and retreat. Our less lethal combo is good for animal control, the 4-legged kind and 2-legged. When lethal force is necessary, reach for our Stop 'em, Drop 'em, or our home defense combos. These 5-round packs include different heavy hitters to protect your loved ones. Visit WolfHillAmmo.com to see our great prices on these combo packs and other specialty shotgun ammo rounds. WolfHillAmmo.com.
Overburdened with material comforts, America's wealthy can expect another disappointing holiday this year. As Brian Scott tells us, the rich will simply be buying too many things to experience the true meaning of Christmas.
All across the country, those at the top of the economic ladder are denied a privilege that the poorest of the poor take for granted. Rather than fall victim to the rampant consumerism that seems to increase each year, the poor find meaningful joy in simple Christmas traditions, like singing carols to keep warm and hugging relatives who have not yet died. At stores like these, the spiritually bereft must scramble for popular holiday toys in a vain attempt to duplicate the Christmastime happiness that the impoverished enjoy.
Poor people are grateful for just a roof over their heads or something to eat. My wife and I are both lawyers, so that's not enough for us. Certainly hope poor people don't take what they don't have for granted.
This is the Onion News Network.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic
McAfee has hit the, well, not the road, hit the seas. He's on the high seas in international waters as we speak. At least that's the way it looks from his Twitter feed, where he's been posting videos this afternoon announcing his continuing run for president. So he's now going to be running for president for the Libertarian Party's presidential nomination in exile. He will be staying out of the United States because he is currently a wanted man after a grand jury has handed down some indictments against him and apparently his wife and apparently a few different associates of his. So we're going to learn more about that as time goes on. We do have a couple of statements from McAfee that we'll play on the air here. But to continue, or to, I guess, get into the topic that you brought in tonight, or one of them, Johnson, was about this porn block / wall / porn wall tax. I'm sorry, I keep unmuting the wrong damn microphone. Let's try that again. Porn wall?
General porn wall. No, I don't. I don't know that I necessarily call it a porn wall, but something like that.
All right, what's going on?
So a state representative from Arizona has introduced a bill this week that would tax access to porn in order to fund the border wall.
The border wall.
So. Kind of is a porn wall, but so this is Representative Gail Griffin of Arizona, and under the proposed legislation, formerly known as House Bill 2444, electronic devices sold in the state, this is in Arizona, I guess, would be required to include porn blockers by law.
So this is an Arizona state legislation?
Yes. Yeah.
Huh.
So, however, those who wish to view pornography would be required to request that the block be deactivated from the company that distributed the device and pay a deactivation fee of $20 to the Arizona Commerce Authority.
Before you go on, this is why I called it a porn wall, because it's a block, meaning that by default, you buy a computer or whatever other device they might talk about, smartphone, whatever you can access the web with. You buy a device, it's by default behind a wall, meaning that you have to then pay, apparently, the company to then unlock that access to, say, Pornhub or whatever other sites they've blocked. So we are talking about a virtual wall, like the Chinese government has a restriction. The Australian government has.
It's more of a lock than a wall, I would say. So it's putting everything that.
Meaning that you can still get it, but you just got to pay.
Right.
Okay.
Yep, you got to pay to unlock your device.
It's disturbing.
Yeah, very disturbing.
Tell me more.
So.